Today, I'm going to play the negative individual who doesn't feel Suno is ready for the world business stage of big music. This comes from someone on Reddit. I know it's a random person on Reddit, but I like to take critiques of people who claim to be in the world of music and look at them through a broader lens. And this individual says, Suno and SUNO Studio has a long way to go. Like seriously, it's not even close yet. I've been using Suno pretty much non-stop for the past 3 months, day and night. I've got over 10 years in audio engineering, mixing and mastering, and I can say with confidence, the platform just isn't ready to deliver tracks that sound professional, let alone festival or club ready. Well, I beg to differ, and I have over 30 years of experience in industry. And my argument to counter this is it's in the ears of the beholder. And if you go on Suno, the amount of people listening to music generated from Suno is mind-blowing. So for someone to say it doesn't sound professional, that's very inaccurate. The tracks sound wildly professional, but the mixing and mastering, I agree, has a ways to go to get to that clean, pristine, sizzle standard. It's getting closer, but it's not accurate to say it doesn't sound professional. Then when we say club ready or festival ready, again, this is very biased because we can have tracks from way back in the 60s, in the 50s, that have a lot of tape hiss, a lot of noise, and people are digging those tracks. So it's good to put things in their proper perspective. Now, if you're talking about comparing them to tracks today with hyper auto-tune, hyper effects, and all sorts of plugins on the thing, it may not sound exactly like those, but Suno's music is very professional sounding. The artistry, I don't know whose music this guy has been listening to, but for music that I put out, I'm digging the music that Suno's cooking for me. So I don't know, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you're putting in a dumb prompt, if you're putting in a subpar prompt, and you're just taking what Suno gives you and you're running with it, you'll get subpar results. First of all, I cook my prompts with audio. I'm not just putting in a textual prompt. And then when I put in a textual prompt, I'm cooking it in my own AI generator prompt app that I created. So the output that I get, and you can go listen to some of my stuff on Phil the Creator on YouTube, you'll find that there are some artifacty kind of things. If you're listening with headphones on very attentively, you will hear the hiss in the background of some of the 4.5 tracks, but the Suno version 5 tracks are much better. So for someone to say that they're not professional, they're not club ready, again, it's in the eye of the beholder, it's in the eye of the listener. And I dare say that a lot of listeners, they don't even care less whether it has the underlying tape hiss in the higher frequencies. They don't care. They're listening to the groove, the beat, the rhythm. They're not noticing. I would say that out of the populace that listens to music like this, you may be fortunate to get 5%. 5% of people that pay keen attention to these things. You'll be very fortunate to find 5%. So I find it very hard agreeing with this statement. The stems are nowhere near industry mastering standards. Trying to master the wave on hardware is a waste of time. It's difficult, but it's not a waste of time. You can achieve better quality if you take those stems. And now that Suno has gotten to version 5, I demonstrate this on one of my videos. The fact that it can be converted to MIDI now makes this statement not extremely true or accurate. And this individual doesn't mean any harm, right? Don't get me wrong, I love Suno for coming up with ideas. It's fun and creative. And for sketching out concepts, it's amazing. But if you're expecting to export a track and polish it into a release-ready song, forget it. I disagree. I hugely disagree about that. The biggest problem is the stems. They're not clean. Drums, bass, synths, vocals, and FX all bleed into each other. That's not true. They don't all bleed into each other. Sometimes you get a bleed, but you got to look for version 1 and version 2. So when you try to master a bass stem, you still hear synth and vocal. That is not true. It doesn't happen in every single. So for someone who claims to be using Suno so much, I will push back and say, I don't know how you're getting your stems, but you have to iterate. Sometimes you might do it 2 runs, but I have certainly taken stems out of Suno without any bleed on the bass. The synth and the FX and the vocals, yeah, they could have issues. The keyboard, some issues, I agree. But a good mastering, mix engineer, producer knows what to do with those. So let's go back and look at background. So this individual says, 10 years in audio engineering, mixing and mastering. Well, maybe there you have it. Because if you are a producer who also doubles as a mixing engineer and a mastering engineer should be able to find workarounds, even for some of the most horrendous stems. Are you kidding me? I've gotten stems from some of my people who work with me, and I've had to clean them up. Not good, having this really underlying background hum. But you find ways as a producer, right? So just looking for it to be pristine in every situation is, yeah, Suno is not there yet. Makes proper mastering impossible. Running them through third-party apps like whatever these are, Isotope, I use Isotope, RX, Ripex, or Serato stems doesn't fix it either. You can't make clean stems out of messy ones. Well, it's not about the stems, it's about the composite music. With Suno, you have to look at the whole. You can't just take the stems and expect them to all gel, right? You gotta pan some, you gotta shave some of the frequencies down. And here's the scary part. For the past few months, I've been getting AI generated stems from producers and artists asking me to master them. You mean mix them, right? Every time I have to say the same thing, I can't master these. Or maybe he does mean master, but mixing and mastering are 2 different things. Production is a totally different thing. Sometimes you have to double as a producer, a mix engineer, and a mastering engineer when you're working with Suno. They're unusable. I just call it creative use of resource. I creatively use resource all the time. Look, we have to get off this high horse of thinking what we hear is the same thing the consumer hears. The consumer is not hearing half of what we as mix engineers, mastering engineers, or producers or musicians are hearing. They're hearing something different. I agree. It's good to aim for a very high standard. Yes. But when you have lemon, make lemonade. You could discard the lemons. It's okay. But I know so many people, they ain't doing that. We can't wait another 3, 4, 5 years for picture perfectness. And this is how every emerging technology is. You're going to have some front runners who go with it. You're going to have some people who are like, this is useless. But I think when you look back and you say, look at what Suno did 4 years ago. Look at what Suno does today. Of course, there's going to be a difference. We can't always arrive at the destination in the blink of an eye. There has to be a journey. And not everyone's willing to say, oh, I guess I'll wait another 3, 4 years. No, it's okay. What is the enemy of progress? Being so obsessed with it has to be perfect. No. When I listen to stuff that I worked on in the 90s, it still has gravitas and soul. With all the warts and all. So we've been spoiled by technology. We want everything to be so pristine and clean, no hiss, no noise, no background. No. And people aren't dumb. People don't care about much of that stuff anyway. It's us as professionals, and I'll say maybe about 20%, if you will, max, amongst the entire population of musicians and engineers and people who would care about that because of profession. But if you're really talking about the 5% that hear it, it's so minuscule. A lot of people could listen to the tracks on radio and not even notice anything. Because if they're not listening through headphones and they're listening through casual speakers, a lot of that stuff goes unnoticed to the human ear. So I disagree with a lot of what is being said here. If Suno manages to deliver truly isolated professional grade stems, then it could be a total game changer. It's already a game changer, which is why the likes of the big three are breathing down their necks. Honestly, in a couple of years, they might be the leader in this space, but right now they just aren't there. I don't know if this individual has tried version 5, but it doesn't sound like they have. Been grinding on Suno for 3 months, great for ideas, useless for pro tracks. Stems are messy, mastering is basically impossible, third-party apps don't help. The scariest part, more and more producers are sending engineers AI stems that are flat out. So those engineers that don't want to work with them, I guess they don't get any work, right? Suno could be king in a few years, but it's nowhere near ready now. And this is where I disagree, because Suno is already king in this space. Anyone who doesn't know that is deluded. I don't know where you are. You under a rock? Have you checked out version 5? Have you seen that you can export with MIDI? Come on now. Give me a break. I'm done with this. Let me know what you think. Do you think that this holds weight? Because I've spoken to other professionals who are in the thick of it in the music industry, and they are using this stuff for their music creation. Go check Suno's channel and listen to what other professionals are saying. Only a poor workman blames their tools. So with 30 years in the game, I have a different perspective. I'll make lemonade out of lemons. I'm going to pour a whole lot of sugar in that thing. And by the time I'm done, people are going to drink it. And they're not going to get diabetes. They're going to get a sugar buzz. They're certainly going to feel a lot better. Let me know what you think about this. I think Suno is the bomb. I think Suno is king in this space. For a minute there, I thought producer AI was going to take over. And then I was thinking, oh, how's Suno going to match all these other little guys coming up with bespoke features? When they came out with version 5, and then they came out with Studio, and I saw what Studio could do, I just said, please give me a break. Go home. Let me know what you think. Is Suno king? And how much of this stuff that I just read do you concur with? I know some will, but I'm curious to know what others think. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.